Welcome to Raw TV, Real and Willing Television. I'm Amante Hall.
And I'm Gabrielle Dorisami. So today we're not just talking about snapbacks and
Snapbacks and tattoos.
Exactly. You got to save the swag for later, just a little later. We're talking about body image as a whole. So we're talking about tattoos. We are talking about plastic surgery, just changing yourself to fit a certain mold. So have you ever felt that pressure, that social pressure to fit a certain mold, look a certain way?
Yes, I did. Actually, in high school, I didn't necessarily have the nicest clothes, but I tried to, make it work. And I definitely felt that way. I felt the pressure of, not looking the best at some times. But
yeah,
how did you? What about you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, for me, I love celebrity news. So I'm always flipping through magazines, seeing what Kim K is wearing all the time. And I'm always seeing these models and celebrities that really show me an unobtainable standard.
Yes.
And so I definitely deal with that on a daily basis for sure. Absolutely.
So we're also talking about body image. Do you think, we always look at women, we always think they're always, concerned about the way they look. Do you think guys struggle with the same thing?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's in a much different way. I think as women, we talk about it a lot, and we definitely are always dieting, I feel like, and we're always kind of trying to do a certain thing with our hair to look a certain way.
Yeah.
But I think men deal with it for in a big way as well. And I think we're going to talk about tattoos. 80% of women are more likely to actually go and get tattoos. So we're actually going to look a little bit into that. Have you ever felt like getting a tattoo?
Have you met my parents?
Yeah, exactly. You have to always keep them happy. And plus,
Yes.
It's definitely a big decision because it's forever. So we went to Word on the Street with Courtney Buck to see what you had to say about tattoos.
I'm here getting the word on the street about tattoos. Do you have any tattoos?
I don't have any tattoos.
So do you have anything against tattoos?
I don't really have anything against tattoos. I just don't have any.
No.
Do you think tattoos are acceptable?
Yeah.
Are you planning on getting any tattoos?
I don't know. I'm too indecisive, but maybe.
Maybe one day.
No, I don't.
I don't have any tattoos.
Are you okay with tattoos?
I mean, I'm okay with other people having them, but I wouldn't get one just because, keep the body a temple.
I do not.
So what do you feel about tattoos? Are they right, wrong?
I think it almost depends on the situation. I think if you're going to get a tattoo, then it should be meaningful and it should have some type of reason behind it. I don't think, because your body is the temple of God, I don't think you should just be marking it up with a bunch of different stuff without a good reason behind it.
No, I do not have any tattoos.
Are you okay with tattoos?
I am fine with tattoos. I have nothing against tattoos. I personally will not have any tattoos though.
I think depending on what the tattoo is and where it's at, and I think that just depends on that.
And there you have it, folks. People have some really interesting opinions on tattoos.
So we want to welcome to the show a very special guest, Jinx from Scooter's Skin Art here in Lakeland. So it's a tattoo shop, and you've been in the business for about 7 years, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, so as an expert in your field, what would you say some of the motivations people have of going into your shop and getting a tattoo?
Everything from a memorial for a lost loved one to I got $50 in my pocket and nothing to spend it on.
Burning a hole in your pocket.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
So we did a survey of 151 people, and 47 of them said that they have tattoos. 104 said they do not. And they said their reasons for getting these tattoos were faith, family, friends, and they were just caught up in the moment. So they had the $50 in their wallet and they're like, let's go right now. I've talked to a lot of different people, and they said the biggest thing about having a tattoo is what does it mean for them? So what do tattoos mean for you?
For me, they mean money. Bill pay. Again, I've seen people get everything, get a tattoo for everything from memorializing a lost loved one to no reason at all. I have the entire spectrum of that on myself. I have gotten tattooed personally for deeply personal reasons that, things that I want to make sure to commemorate for the rest of my life, and because I had $50 in my pocket, nothing better to spend it on.
So I want to talk about tattoos in the workplace. And so this is a big discussion. I mean, it has been for many years. So clearly in your line of work, it is in no way a roadblock for you.
I should think not.
You're kind of like a walking billboard, honestly.
I wouldn't go to a tattooer that didn't have tattoos personally. So it's, in my line of work, it's more of a requirement than anything.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay, so in your line of work, if it's a requirement, some people actually think it's kind of not very professional. What's your opinion on that?
I've actually held quite a few grown-up professional jobs, with my hands tattooed and my knuckles tattooed. I have my ears and my head tattooed. I would say probably what matters more than how many tattoos you have or what kind of holes you want to punch in your body and put jewelry through is how good you are at what you do. And that's, there are a few places still, very few places, that have no visible tattoo policies, but that's going away at a fairly rapid rate. It really is. And for most places, it really does come down to if you're good enough at what you do, they'll overlook the tattoos, even if they don't particularly like them.
It's all about the skill level.
Yeah, it is. So, okay, you notice a lot of different, maybe people come in. Is there a certain type of demographic that is coming into your shop and wanting tattoos from you?
Young women that want infinity symbols.
It's Pinterest. I believe
It is.
Pinterest.
It really is. I have had days where I have just looked at the ceiling and went, if I have to tattoo another infinity symbol, I am just going to cry. I think it's split up really well across all of humanity. I mean, I have personally tattooed doctors and people that work at McDonald's and everything in between.
Wow. That's really cool. So I know you mentioned women. Statistics show, I said this earlier, that women actually have a tendency to actually be tattooed more often. Would you agree with that? And why do you think that's the case?
I would actually say from my personal experience, it's probably about 50-50 on a whole. But the last couple of years, there have been a lot more women getting tattooed because tattoos are sexy. They really are. Every tattoo. It's
even the infinities?
Scientifically proven fact. Every tattoo makes you 8% sexier.
Really?
Really? That's interesting. So we're on that topic. Do you think there's a such thing as a stupid tattoo?
Yes.
Is
Okay.
it the infinity for you?
Talk about a stupid tattoo for us.
Do I have to keep it clean?
Go ahead. You can tell me.
No, I'm not going to repeat the Papa Smurf story.
No,
I absolutely will not. I think if it's an internet meme, it's probably not a good idea for a tattoo.
You've seen it internet
quite a lot.
Wow,
yeah. I do not think that all of the people that got Harlem Shake tattooed on them are going to enjoy that in a few more years. And I do not think YOLO is really going to stick around, but I've done an awful lot of YOLO tattoos. Because, I will tell you if it's maybe not the brightest idea to get tattooed on you, but when it comes down to it, you're the customer, and if you want to pay me to tattoo it on you, as long as it's not something too terrible, I'll do it.
Comes down to that source of income.
How much do you think the next generation is kind of watching how much we put the art on our bodies, and do you think it's important that we are kind of holding a certain image for them to look at?
I do, and I love tattoos. I mean, it's my livelihood. I got an awful lot before I even got into the business, and I wish more people had them. I wish more people got them. I wish more people got them at respectable, established tattoo parlors instead of their buddy that bought himself a kit off of Amazon or some such. As far as the next generation goes, I think that it's important that they grow up realizing that what you want to have on your skin doesn't matter as much as who you are.
So we've been talking about tattoos, and I just want to thank you for coming on the show and teaching us a little bit more about tattoos and speaking to the next generation. I really appreciate that.
It was an absolute pleasure. This has been a great experience.
Yeah. In our next segment, we're going to slice into the topic of plastic surgery. Courtney Buck went on the street to see what people thought about going underneath a knife.
I'm here to get the word on the street about plastic surgery. How do you feel about plastic surgery?
Bad. I think you shouldn't do it at all.
No.
It affects your skin and your personality when you get older. You look a lot different.
I don't like plastic surgery. I think people are perfect just the way they are.
I don't like plastic surgery. I am strongly against plastic surgery. I think that God created us as beautiful as we are, and whether or not somebody's nose is a little off or their ears are a little long, I still don't believe plastic surgery should be an option.
We're made in God's image, and I feel like if we were to distort that image, wouldn't be what He created us for.
And no, it's altering your body. Like, God made you perfect in His image, and you're trying to change that. So I don't think it's really necessary. But in some cases, like if you have a deformity of some sort, then it's a little bit different.
Somebody has something they're like uncomfortable with or they're insecure about. I'm not big into it, but I feel if they feel the need to do that and they have the money to, I don't see why not.
Thanks for slicing into that with me, everyone.
Courtney, that was a fantastic word on the street. It was such a good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're talking about plastic surgery right now, and I just want to ask you guys, what do you guys think about plastic surgery?
I think that if it's something that will make you more confident in yourself and make you feel like more of who you are, I have no problem with it. I think that whether it's for medical purposes or for just cosmetic reasons, that it really is no different than fake eyelashes or maybe some lipstick. I think that it may be more drastic and more expensive than some CoverGirl, but I think that it is, if it is the difference between you feeling, you know, positive and happy and beautiful when you look in the mirror, then I think that that's just fine. And God made you beautiful the way that you are, but He also, you know, gave us the ability to go and get things to make us feel more, I guess, adjusted in our environment.
Absolutely.
Kind of off of what Courtney was saying, like I kind of feel the same way, and in a sense, like that's your body. Like you do with it what you want, just kind of like a tattoo. But I did research actually, and plasticsurgery.org says like the main thing on the website in big bold letters says to do your homework first. And that's about, you know, what you want to be done, how dangerous it is, but then also the big thing is the plastic surgeon. So just like you don't want your cousin Billy, you know, tattooing your arm, you probably don't want a sketchy plastic surgeon to be doing that. So like that was a big thing. And there's actually a organization that's called the American Society of Plastic Surgeons, and if a lot of really well-known and really like good plastic surgeons are associated with that. So it pretty much just warned and said, if you don't see that little sticker in their office, probably not a good idea. So definitely be safe with that.
Someone's coming at you with a knife. Make sure they're qualified first.
They're qualified, exactly. Definitely.
I actually disagree with you guys.
Okay.
No, see, I think if it's something like, you know, you got in an accident or something, your face got messed up, of course, go get that fixed. That's something definitely. But I think that a lot of people get plastic surgery for just like terrible reasons. I mean, in all honesty, like a girl going in to like get her boobs enhanced kind of thing, or breast enhancement or whatever the proper term is for that. You know, I think that's a terrible idea. I think it's like you're so uncomfortable with yourself that you need to have like a bigger, you know, right there. And
there are birds that do that,
because I guess there's birds. I don't know. Mate with me, you know. But like, I think the reason why a lot or the general reason why a lot of people do it is to like impress other people. And I guess like I can kind of let it slide if it's really something for yourself. Like if you got like a mole or something, you're like, oh man, I really want to get that, you know, removed or something. I guess I can see that. But if it's something like, again, you know, going and getting a breast enhancement, I can't get on board with that at all.
See, and I don't know, I kind of disagree in the sense of, you know, I obviously won't go in and get that done, but I think that for me, like, it's always been my nose. I've always hated my nose, and it's always been a thought in the back of my head that maybe one day I could go get it fixed, you know, and I agree in the sense of that's, you know, it's kind of a feeding of your psyche that there's something wrong with you, and there's not. And I think that it's kind of one of those things where you need to remember that you're beautiful the way that you are, you know, and, you know, what God says you are. You're made in His image, so He doesn't make mistakes. You know, you are His creation. He worked very hard on you.
So it all goes kind of back to your motives of, like,
For
why
sure.
is it that you're doing this? So there are two things. I didn't know this. When I was researching this, I learned a little bit of something. So there's cosmetic surgery, and that's your breast augmentation, your tummy tucks, just kind of like fixing, not even fixing, actually just enhancing things that are working fine on you. And then you have your, like, reconstructive surgery, and that's your plastic surgery. And so that's if you were in an accident or if you had a birth defect. That's fixing something that it wasn't correct on your body to begin with. So I also found that plastic surgery, it was like $12 billion industry last year. So people are spending the money to go, to change things. So do you think that kind of like says something about the culture that we're in right now?
Absolutely. I think that we spend so much money on, I think more in the sense of when people, get like tummy tucks and stuff like that. We spend all this money on, eating unhealthy things, and then we go spend even more money to undo it when you could spend a lot less on just a gym membership and a dietitian. You know what I mean?
Something
Things
like that with like
Eating
the tummy tuck specifically. I feel like sometimes it's pure laziness. You're like instead of going to actually do the work, I'm going to take a shortcut and let somebody cut open my stomach.
But at the same time, I'll play devil's advocate on that one. Sometimes people have, metabolism issues or things where they have difficulty losing weight. It runs in my family actually with some things like that where they're just medical conditions where it's difficult to change it, or they gain the weight not because of what they even ate. I have a relative who eats salad almost every meal. She eats healthy things and things like that, just like rabbit food to me. Ugh. But she eats it, and she would still gain weight, and she couldn't figure it out. And they went and she figured out she had metabolism issues. So sometimes it, is medical.
Well, I think that in a perfect world, we would all be okay with how we looked. But because of what the next person next to us thinks, we start to change our views, and we think that we're not perfect or even close to looking the way we want to. So do you guys think that the problem is that people are so judgmental towards individuals who do get plastic surgery?
I think the problem is more so you're judgmental with yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, because someone's going to go plastic surgery, whether I sit here and say, oh, I disagree, no matter what kind of thing, and if they're saying like, yeah, definitely do it, So no matter what, I think it's just, again, it's all within yourself.
Yeah.
If it's your nose, which I think looks great, by the way, but if it's your nose and you want to change that, that's something within yourself. Why you want to change
it. Varies
Yeah, but don't let it define you.
Yeah.
Definitely, that's one of the big things. Don't let it define who you are.
You have to be strong in yourself, absolutely. Yeah. So this all kind of ties into body image. I know, Courtney, you went back out on the street. We're not keeping you inside. And you actually talked about people, what they thought, just in general, about body image. So stay tuned for that.
I'm here getting the word on the street about body image. So how important is body image to you?
I mean, it's important, but it shouldn't consume you and just, get all crazy about it. But I think it's important.
I think it's good for self-confidence. I think body image is definitely to keep you happy about yourself and to keep, obviously it's going to leave an impact on others, but it's up to you how you perceive your body. I don't care how I look. I think that I'm good. I'm happy. I'm just happy.
Very good. Well, I've always had really good confidence in myself and my body, and really I'm not like one of those people who are all like, oh, I hate my body and stuff. So I just think if you speak good words to yourself and, confidence, and then everything works out. And especially that comes from Jesus, knowing him, so you don't have to worry about that.
Good. So how do you personally maintain body image? Just keeping that ideal?
Yeah, and then swimming. Swimming's fun.
I think the way that God creates us is, I think we should respect ourselves too.
It depends how you carry yourself, I would say. Obviously everyone's not the same, so.
I believe that body image is important as long as you are talking about health-wise and as long as you are talking about what you do to be a beautiful you instead of what others think you should be like.
So how do you maintain good body image?
Eat good and work out.
And I keep up my body image by eating whatever I want, and I don't work out.
And there you have it, folks. I guess beauty really is in the eye of the beholder.
So a lot of what we have been talking about has to do with body image in one way or another, whether it's changing it or putting art on it. It's all kind of beating around the bush of how do we perceive ourselves and how do we feel about ourselves? So a recent statistic said that 91% of women are unhappy with the way they look, and only 5% of women naturally have the look that women are trying to achieve. So the odds are kind of not in their favor. How do you think this reflects, not just the culture, but why is this just such a big deal?
Well, beauty has become an unattainable thing. It is something that is valued with no way to get there. So you have a destination with no roadmap. You have nothing, because beauty is not a standard one thing. You know, it doesn't just fit one mold. It's ever changing. It's ever growing. Magazines make money if they change the fashions every 6 weeks or every week or every other day. This is in style and now it's not. You know, you cut your hair into a bob and now long hair is in. And you're like, oh gosh, I gotta grow my hair back out again. I got these awkward bangs for the next 6 months. So it's just, it's an ever-growing thing that is just never satisfied. It's a beast. It's just a monster.
Well, I mean, you could say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So everyone has their own definition of beauty. But then, you know, like you're saying, the magazines or whatever media in general is saying this is what you want. This is what you want to attain. You know, and so you have. I think the culture on the whole is really tough on specifically women. So that stat honestly doesn't surprise me. It makes me really sad, but it doesn't surprise me at all. You know, because women have it so rough where it's like, okay, you have to make sure you're dressed enough so you don't look like a slob, but make sure you have a little bit of cleavage, but not too much, or else you look like a whore, kind of thing. You know, like that's the thing. It's really tough on women that we put so many, like, you have to hit this, this, and this.
Too many stipulations.
If you're missing one, then you're gonna feel like crap because of it.
Right. Well, even for not just for women, because I know women get it really hard, but especially in the past 10, 20 years, guys have gotten it really hard because every guy is expected to look like a Hollister model. And not every guy is a Hollister model, and that's okay.
Disclaimer, I don't want a Hollister model. Those aren't fun to snuggle. Like, that's just too hard. Have you ever had a hard pillow before? Like, no.
I'm willing to try.
I'm
willing to try.
You'll take one for the team, is what you're saying?
Okay, when you think about that, women do have that pressure to look good. Now it's almost as if guys are looking so much more like the women sometimes and taking all day to get ready.
I used to paint my nails way back in the day.
It's
so
like,
yeah,
hey,
cool.
hurry up and get out of the bathroom. We're trying to leave. You're taking all day. What's taking you so long?
Sometimes I feel like my dad spends more time getting ready than I do. And for church in the mornings, because he's on stage and everything.
Yeah.
So he spends so much time on his hair, and he's always like, Crimson, like, what should I wear? Crimson, like, does my hair look okay? Are you sure? Like, I'm like, yes, Dad, looks fine. And I'm like, do I look okay? Yeah, you look great. Like, why do you spend so much time in the bathroom? Dad, why did you spend so much time in the bathroom? You're a guy. So I think definitely I can kind of teeter both ways.
Yeah, so guys are judgmental on themselves, right?
Absolutely. I think, like, with guys, I mean, I don't think we receive it as much, but there definitely is that thing of like, oh, I want to get that six-pack going or whatever, or like when I started eating vegetarian, I lost like 10 pounds, and I was like, yeah, look at me, yeah, I was like, yeah, you keep eating kale. This doesn't taste like crap at all. Let's keep eating that, So I mean, like, I don't think guys have it as tough, because at the same time, I can go walk out in just like jeans and a t-shirt and be totally fine, and like not really feel self-conscious. But then like a girl does the same thing. They, like Tara, my fiance, is always coming up to me, kind of thing like, oh, hey, do I look like a slob right now? I was like, no, you look great. Like, oh, you sure? I just have a tank top on right now. Is that okay? I was like, yeah, you look good,
Yeah, I mean, I'm so glad we touched on this, because I mentioned earlier, like, these celebrities. I mean, you as a guy, I mean, do you ever look at, these celebrity women, and you have your Kim Kardashians and your beautiful, I know we were talking about Jennifer Aniston before the show. I mean, the people that these women end up with aren't exactly ugly either. Do you ever kind of like look at that and go, man, that's a high standard to reach?
Me, I mean, restate your question, because I'm a little confused.
Like the men in like Hollywood or pop culture.
Oh, okay, so reaching them.
The George Clooney's of the world.
Or Zac Efron.
The Zac Efron.
Zac Efron,
It's like a fine wine. It gets better with age. You gotta wait for that.
I feel like when you think of something in that context, as a guy, you start to lose focus on yourself when you focus on what another man's doing. And if you lose focus on who you are, then you start to become a copy of something else. And we're not put on earth to be a copy. We're put on earth to be ourselves. We are you're the most organic you, because you're the only one. So when you try to be something else, you're like, oh, I'm gonna try to be that guy, Tom Cruise. I'm not tall enough, I'm not short enough to be. So it's really funny though to think about, because we miss it until we're looking at ourselves from a different angle.
Absolutely.
And saying, I'm perfect the way God made me to be.
And it's a tough thing to come to realize that. To like, I'm perfect the way, because even you could be like super Christian and you all, worship all the time and still feel like, man, I just hate the way I look, and that's why people resort to things like plastic surgery or tattoos or body modification in some way.
Yeah.
And you could say that anything, just dyeing your hair is a body modification, to make yourself feel better.
I think it's important that we encourage each other. That we use either, through media. There's a media that's fighting back and being encouraging about, being happy with yourself, and music especially. Johnny Diaz, who sings, Beautiful You, and I know you and I were talking earlier about music that does the same thing. So I think encouraging each other is definitely a way to try and maybe prevent that. For
So we've been talking about how to look at ourselves in a greater way, and as far as Christ, how do we be active in that? Walking it out.
Monte, what would Judith do?
I don't know. What would Judith do?
That's a good question. We should go find out.
I have a tattoo, and I love Jesus. Many people have called me a hypocrite because of this tattoo that I have, even though I have it to glorify God. But I have to be honest with you. This scares me because my biggest fear as a Christian is to be a stumbling block for somebody else. God has given us many different guidelines in the Bible. Some are cultural and some are eternal. Starting with Leviticus 19:28. Do not cut your bodies for the dead or put tattoo markings on yourselves. I am the Lord. At first sight, this is very straightforward, but if you realize it, it says for the dead. And then you consider that getting ear piercings also constitutes cutting the flesh. Then you read, do not cut the hair at the sides of your beard. Here, Moses beseeches the Israelites to be set apart and holy. Some are heart rules and some are head rules. I say that because he mixes in, do not seek revenge or bear a grudge against anyone among your people, but love your neighbor as yourself, with, do not wear clothing woven of two kinds of material. These, I believe, are cultural. They were intended to keep cultural cleanliness and order in that time frame. The Lord does not look at the thing that man looks. God looks at the heart. This subject can be very messy and controversial, but the bottom line is that it's a personal decision. I decided to get inked because I had a peace from God about it. So you ask, what would Judith do? I would have a self-evaluation. Do I want this tattoo to glorify God or myself? Will it be a source of vanity and pride for you, or will it be used to tell your testimony more often of God, of how God loves you? We don't need to be afraid to surrender. He is a good father who wants to bless his children.
Genesis chapter 1, verse 27. So God created man in his image, and in his image of God he created him. Male and female he created them. And that's just an encouragement for you that you were made in God's image and that there's nothing wrong with the way you look, and that at least God is there to say that he cares and he loves you.
My guess is God's not a bad-looking guy, so move
he's
over
fly.
Zac Efron.
God is a very fly individual.
For sure. So always just make sure to encourage yourself and be encouraged and encourage others too, because we can't be held to a man standard. We have to be held to a higher standard for sure.
And no matter what the world may say to you, always remember that you were made in God's image and no one can stop that. And always, thank you for watching our show, and remember to live it raw.
Live it raw, guys. We'll see you next time.